All right, now we're going to get our celery ready to dice. So basically all you want to do, make sure you get rid of all the strings. Just usually take your knife and then go down, depending on the size of the celery, 3 or 4 times. And then remember, you want to keep your thumb and fingers out of the way. So take your thumb behind. And that's all you do. And then move on. All right, now we're going to chop up our onion. And then if you remember a couple videos ago, I showed you a couple of different ways to cut an onion. So, we can cut it like this, about 3 times, all the way through, and then like this. Or we just cut it like this. And then, like a dat. Both ways gives you the same product. They dice the same. So this way saves time. And then once you get to the edge, all right, we got our butter hot. So we're going to saute our onions and celery. So we can add a little bit of seasoning to this, because you want to season in layers, so everything tastes a-okay. So I'm going to add a little bit of poultry seasoning, and then we're going to add a little bit of poultry seasoning when we mix it also in the bread. So let me get that going. And if you have a big shaker like that with the big holes, just grab yourself a little spoon. Now I'm not measuring. I'm just using it so I don't dump a whole lot in and get too much. Okay. Or if you wanted to tape, a couple of these holes up, that'd be fine too. All right, so over here we have our, all right, so I have some leftover bread, and we're just going to go ahead and cube it. I got some leftover hamburger buns. So whatever kind of leftover bread you have, or you want to use, if you don't have any leftover, you can just use the whole loaf or whatever. But a lot of people don't use these for sandwiches, so don't throw these away. Put them in the freezer and they add up. So you paid for the whole loaf, you might as well use the whole loaf. So I'm just going to go ahead and cube And with gluten-free bread, you know, it's kind of hard anyway. So a lot of people, when I used to make regular stuffing, you know, I would let the bread dry out for a while. But with the gluten-free bread, you know, it's ready to go. So it'll do what we need it to do. So I'll go ahead and get these cubed up, and I'll bring you back as soon as I'm done. All right, now that I got the bread cubed, if you wanted to cube it and then leave it out for a couple hours so you know it gets like croutony, is that a word, croutony? Crouton-like, you can, but I'm going to go ahead and mix it up just like this. So I used about 5 pieces of the Canon bakehouse, and I used probably about 6 or 8 slices of the Char's white bread, and the couple extra leftover pieces that I have, and then 2 of the buns. So that would probably, you know, stuff a turkey that much. So however much stuffing you want to make, you're going to add that much more ingredients, you know, that I did. So I got my bowl here, and then I'm going to dump in my breadcrumbs, or my cube bread. So I'm going to go with 3 eggs, and then the celery and onions that we put in. There they are. Yeah, I know. Dump them, just dump them in. We're going to mix it up anyway. I can hear people out there, just dump it in. Now you can do these, you know, the celery and onions ahead of time, so they're not so hot to cut, to touch rather. And you don't want to cook the eggs. I can still feel the heat off of this, so I'm going to go ahead and scramble the eggs and let this cool a little bit longer. And then we're going to add the seasoning and some gluten-free chicken broth. All right, this cooled down a little bit. I got my 3 eggs beaten. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And we're going to add some poultry seasoning. Okay. We're going to add some chicken stock. But again, you know, closer to Thanksgiving, you can add your turkey stock or turkey broth. So behind me, I have a pan of butter and oil heating up. And once we get this mixed up, we're going to go ahead and fry this up in a pan. We can go ahead and lower that. Now we want this kind of wet, so just add a little bit of chicken broth at a time. Make sure I get everything incorporated. And if you're more of a celery and onion person, add more if you're less. I think we put in just a perfect amount. I can see it. And you just want to taste of it in every bite. So we're going to add another. Right now I'm about half of the container. And then you're going to stuff it in the turkey. You don't want it too moist. But then, you know, some people don't like it in the turkey. So also after we pan fry this, we're going to throw it in the oven to finish it. So I think we need a little bit more. Anybody that's eaten gluten-free bread knows how dry it is. Then it sucks up the moisture. So I think that's going to about get it. So add some more. And then whatever seasonings you like, you can add them. This is just a basic showing you step instructions. All right. So I think that's about good. Yeah, that's about good. All right, so let's take it over to the pan and we'll get it frying up. All right. Yeah. Put it in there. You can almost smell like how much seasoning that you have in there. So I think that's about good. We're going to do that in 2 batches. So we'll put the rest over here. We'll let that go a little bit. So like right now is when all the flavor is going to start. And then as it cooks, it's going to release some smells. So you can say, oh, maybe I need some more poultry seasoning in there. We're going to let this fry up a little bit. Then we're going to taste it, add what we need, and then we're going to finish it off in the oven. And we're going to get back to the gravy, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do some sweet potatoes or yams. You know, whatever, I guess it's whatever region you're from. You call sweet potatoes yams, yams sweet potatoes. So I'm not exactly sure. If you know, well, that's the oven. If you know, leave me a comment. Let me know, you know, is it the region you're from, whether it's a sweet potato or a yam? All right. All right. Now we got the stuffing. It's starting to brown. Now we don't want to overcook it because we're going to finish it off in the oven. So once it starts getting brown, like this, because we're going to stuff it in the bird, that's what kind of you want everything to look like. So right now this is probably about 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off, put it in a pan, and then start our second batch. then we're just doing oil and butter. Couple tablespoons. Same way with the butter. And then I did add some poultry seasoning, a little bit more to the stuffing. All right. We'll get that moved around. Take this off. All right, we'll get that browned up and I'll bring it back. All right, I gave it a little taste. We're gonna have to add some more poultry seasoning. And you wanna make sure that you get it fairly cooked because of the raw egg in there before you taste it. Because you don't want to make yourself sick. All right, well, this is finishing frying up. Let's go ahead and get the chicken ready to stuff and get that in the oven. Okay, we're going to use an oven ready bag from Reynolds. It's pretty easy. Keeps all the juices and flavoring inside. So it says a tablespoon of flour, gluten-free flour. We're going to throw that in there. And we're going to close it up a little bit. And we're going to shake, shake, shake. Shake your money maker. That supposedly stops the sticking. So we got that in there. And then we're going to put it over the pan. We're going to take our chicken. I'm going to use a glove so I don't get chicken stuff all over me. So in the bag she goes. All right. So we got that in there. Let's get rid of that. And then we're going to take our stuffing. Now obviously you don't want to serve this stuffing without cooking it because it's going into raw chicken. So we're going to use all this chicken, all the stuffing in the chicken. And then we're going to season some, guess I can get that out of the way. We're going to season the top of the chicken with some poultry seasoning. All right, I'll get this bird stuffed and then we'll be back. All right, there's the stuffing. Now, at Thanksgiving, I would serve this to the people who don't like it in the bird. And, so we would just heat this up Thanksgiving Day or, whenever you're going to serve it. And let's give that a try. Good, good. Yep, you can definitely taste the poultry seasoning, the celery, the onions. So I am going to save this. I'm going to put it in the freezer. So next time I have a chicken or anything like that, I can pull this out, or pork chops, or whatever. I'm going to pull this out and serve it. So I'll get that put away, and then we'll go back to the gravy.